Hi everyone, I'm June and welcome to my channel Libromer. Today I come with another daytime video, so it's going to be a bit noisy. You know already what's going to happen. Today I want to start by saying that this is going to be the official start for my next challenge. I know I have talked about this in a previous video. I just wanted to talk more in detail now. So yeah, I know I'm going to try to slow down what I'm reading, and by now I'm just trying to finish some books that I'm supposed to finish this year, and I want to start reading Outlander as a series, and also I want to continue reading Foundation series. So those are going to be the next reading by now. But aside from that, I want to start a new challenge, and this is going to be a bit more, let's say, it's going to be easier in some way, but not so much. So some years ago, I was trying to search for lists of books, kind of science fiction books that I can read, and I found this page called Sci-Fi lists that you can check it on internet. I will put it somewhere here, and I will put the link in the description of the video. And there are a couple of lists of books before 2000, after 2000, TV series that you can watch, etc. And I copy the one that is science fiction books before 2000. But if you check it right now, it's not going to be the same. It has changed through these years. So I will just continue reading my list, the one I copied some years ago. So this is 100 science fiction books list. And I noticed that I have read already 48 books. So it's almost half, which is surprising for me. And I want to continue reading this list. So it will be 52 books. I think this is easy. I mean, in terms of comparing this list with other lists, I have to just read 52 books. So technically speaking, if I read one book per week, I will be finishing this challenge in 1 year. I'm not gonna do that. I'm saying immediately, I'm not gonna do that. I will read, but without pushing or forcing myself to read this list and to achieve this challenge in a few times. It can take me 2 years, I don't know. What if I read one book a month? It will take me 4 years, I think. But I want to complete this challenge. So let's check the books, because I have mentioned these books before, and I want to talk about all of them in particular, more in detail, to share with you my thoughts about these books. So let's talk about the books. And the name for this challenge, I will call it Sci-Fi 52, a reading Odyssey, because it's going to be a very long journey. And I'm happy in some way, because there are many books in this list that I want to read, or at least they are very interesting. And there are also some other books that I'm not that interested, but let's check them. So the first book will be Foundation. I'm not going to read this in this order. I will just pick up any book randomly. If I can read it, I will read it. These are ordered in the best to the worst in some way. So this book is not exactly the number one, but it's one of the best ones. So the first one I want to read is Foundation. And I'm happy because in this list there are many books from Asimov, especially from this series, Foundation series. So it will be great to read this series. Then it's A Space Odyssey, 2001 and A Space Odyssey. I have watched the movie, if I'm not wrong. I don't know if it's the same actually, if the movie is based on this book. So I know what is going to happen. I have watched the movie. I don't know if it's the same as the book or it's just different, but I'm very intrigued about this book. Then A Stranger in a Strange Land. I don't know anything about this book, but I have the feeling that it's going to be about aliens traveling to other planets, or maybe people traveling to other planets, or maybe aliens coming here. I don't know. Flowers for Algernon. I don't know what to think about this book. I think it's about a person who has some kind of mental disability, something like that. But apart from that, I don't understand anything. And I guess there is something related with mice, because I have seen them in different covers. but I don't have any idea about what this book is about. The Left Hand of Darkness is a book that is very well known, actually, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know anything about the story, so I'm not sure if I will like it or not. The Handmaid's Tale. This is another book that I'm hesitant in some way because it's one of those books that it's intriguing, but I don't feel I want to read them. It's one of those books like that. Handmaid's Tale, it's going to be, by the way, the first book I will read. I'm planning to read this book soon. I don't know, maybe at the end of September, if not October. Then, Snow Crash. I know that this is a cyberpunk book and I really want to read this book. I'm very intrigued. I know the story is very good and I want to read it. Then, Speaker for the Dead by Orson Scott Card. I know that this is a continuation of Ender's Game. I didn't like that book. I read it long ago and I didn't enjoy it. I think it was the whole story was okay, and the ending was kind of weird. It's like, what? That's the ending? So I just didn't like it. But let's see. Maybe it's good. I have to continue reading them. The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. This is another classic book that many people comment that we have to read. I know nothing about this series either, or about this book. A Canticle for Leboewist. I don't know. In my mind, I always read it like A Canticle for Lewowski. I don't know why. I don't know who is Lewowski, but A Canticle for Leboewists. I don't know. I know it has some connection with religious themes. I think it's about a monk, and that's all. I don't understand anything else. I'm not sure, but I think this is part of a trilogy. I might be wrong. I think I'm wrong, but at the same time, I have the feeling that this book belongs to a trilogy. I don't know. Old Man's War, which is another classic, and many people comment about this book that we have to read it. I don't know. I don't know anything aside from that the main character is an old man. I might be wrong, but that's all I know. So, that's all I know. Then I think it's called The Caves of Steel by Asimov. I'm not sure if this book is related with Foundation. I know that Asimov created a series called Robots. Then there is a type of trilogy, which I think this book belongs to that trilogy, and then a series called Foundation. So they are all connected in some way. So we go from Robots until Foundation, something like that. But aside from that, I don't know anything. Cat's Cradle, I have no idea about this book either. I think it's a classic, but no idea what it is about. Second Foundation, well, another book that I want to read, of course. Ender's Shadow. I'm not sure about this series, honestly, because if I didn't like the first book, I'm not sure if I will enjoy the next one. But, well, this is another series that I want to read, so it will be great. The Stars, My Destination. I think another classic. No idea. I don't know anything about this book. Foundation and Empire, well, one of the classics, and I think this is part of the trilogy, the main trilogy. It's going to be good, supposed to be one of the best science fiction books that you can read, so I'm very happy to read that. Ubik, I don't know how to pronounce it. Knowing as I know Philip K. Dick, it's going to be a weird book. That's all I think, that it's going to be very weird. I don't like the cover. This cover is really ugly, by the way. Contact by Carl Sagan. I always thought that this book was more like a technical book about space, a scientific book. I don't know if it's like that or maybe it's a fiction book. I don't know. Interesting, but just that. Then Ringworld, which is part of a series, and I have been wanting to read this book since long. The only thing I know that is this world that has, instead of being round like our planet, is more like a ring or like circular. I think there's a movie called Elysium, which is about the planet, which has this type of construction, circular or like a ring, where just rich people can live in there, just some can go in there. If you haven't watched this movie, you have to watch it. It's very, very good. Science fiction movie, by the way. The Dispossessed by Ursula Le Guin. Another book that I don't understand, or I don't know anything about it. I know more or less the type of writing of Ursula Le Guin, but I don't know what is this book about. Then The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, which is a book I didn't want to read, honestly. I read the first book, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That's the first book. I don't know the name of the series, I think it's maybe different. And this is a continuation, and this is supposed to be a hilarious series compared with This World. And I don't know, I didn't feel it that funny. I was like lost in some way. I know there is a movie. Maybe if I watch the movie, it will clarify what is this book about. But the first book I didn't enjoy it, so of course I don't want to continue reading the series, but it's here, so I have to. Then Red Mars, which is part of a trilogy. I'm very intrigued about this trilogy. I really want to read the whole trilogy, not just this book, but the whole series. I know there is it's a trilogy, but each book is kind of chunky. It's a big book, but I'm intrigued, and I really want to read this one. The Diamond Age. I don't know anything about this book. I hope it's good, but Neil Stephenson is the writer, and I have already read Anathem. That was a very tedious book to read. It was a chunky one. I don't know if this book is big or not, but I hope the story is different, or at least entertaining, because if not, I don't know, I won't enjoy it. A Fire Upon the Deep. I don't know anything about this book either. I think it's a classic, and by the cover I can guess that it's going to be a mix between fantasy, I don't know, with science fiction, no idea. Then Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. I know that this is a science fiction book, but I don't understand how, because it makes me feel that it's not science fiction in some way, but I think it is. I have read too many Japanese books, and more than that, I have watched too many movies and Japanese series that they all have something in common, or most of them, that they are kind of sad. It's kind of depressing in some way and beautiful at the same time. It's like this. It's like you are watching a movie about the life of a person since his birthday until the end of his life, and showing you many beautiful aspects of his life and the struggles and the victories, and I don't know, everything about his life, just to die at the end. And the death is like kind of weird. So it's like, yeah, it's beautiful. You showed me his life, everything he has done, the people he has helped. I don't know. I'm giving an example, by the way. And at the end, he has to die. I mean, how is that beautiful? It's beautiful, and then it's so you have that sad feeling at the end when you read this type of book. And I have the feeling that Never Let Me Go will be like that. Then it's Wool, which is a trilogy. I know that it's about these people who are underground because something happened above and they cannot leave this place. I know there is a TV series. I think Kim the Paper Traveler is reading these books, and so I know that they are good. So I'm intrigued, but every time that I read where the setting is in a small place, I don't know, it doesn't make me feel that I want to read it, but I'm intrigued about this book. Then Gateway, which I'm not sure, but I think it's part of a series. I might be wrong, but it's part of a series. It looks like any classic science fiction book, so I'm intrigued. Journey to the Center of the Earth, which is a very old classic science fiction book, and I don't know, but I think I have read this book when I was young. I'm not sure, but well, it's here and I will reread it if that's the case. Revelation Space. I have heard many good things about this series. I think it's part of a series or a trilogy, which makes me feel I want to read, but I know it's a chunky book, so I have to be prepared to have patience. Altered Carbon. I think this is a trilogy or part of a series where we will find a police or a detective. I think it's like this book, I don't remember the name, where they are using kind of avatars. People are not using their real bodies anymore. They're using kind of avatars, and one of them are killed. I might be wrong, but I'm not sure if that's the story or not. We by Yevgeny Samyak. I'm no, I know I'm not pronouncing it well. This is one of the Russian books that I want to read, but I have no idea what it is about. Then A Prince of Mars, which is part of a series. I think all these books are very short, and they are 10, I think, which is about this guy who travels to Mars, something like that. I know nothing about this series, just that, but I know that is a good one, so yeah, I'm intrigued to read. The Limits of Foundation, another book from or by Asimov. The Sparrow, which I don't know what to think about this book, because when I read the title, it makes me feel that it's a fantasy book more than a science fiction book, and I don't know anything about the story, so I just think it's a fantasy book. But let's see. Use of Weapons, which is part of a series called The Culture. I know that this series is not like a continuous series. You can read any book, just all these books or all these stories happen in the same universe, so that's why it's called The Culture. I have read the first 2 books, and I'm not sure this is the third one, so if that's the case, it would be awesome, because it's a series that I'm planning to read too. The End of Eternity, another book of Asimov. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I'm not sure if I will enjoy this book, because it's like, I don't know what to think about it. A Scanner Darkly, I know nothing about this book, but again, Philip K. Dick will give us a weird story maybe. I don't know, I'm just guessing. Then The Day of the Triffids, which is, I think it's a story about how plants conquer the planet in some way. I'm not sure. Which reminds me of that movie. I don't remember the name, but it's where people start killing themselves. So the main characters have to run away and find the reason why, and the plants in somewhere are connected with this. The Andromeda Strain, I don't have any idea about this book. I know the author, Michael Crichton, I think is the pronunciation. The author of Jurassic Park, I know, I have read that book, and the movie, of course. The first one will always be the best, by the way, but I know nothing about this book. Then The City and the Stars, and I think it's another classic. Okay, another classic, and I'm not sure what it is about, so let's see. Lord of Light, another classic, I know nothing. Roadside Picnic, I think this is more modern in some way compared with the other books, and I know that it's about aliens, and that's all. Pandora's Star, all I know that it's part, I don't know, I think this is part of it's a series, but it's just 2 books. I might be wrong, but I think it's just 2 books, and they are chunky books, which I don't mind. I like a chunky book if it's good, if the story is entertaining. Then The Parable of the Sower. I don't know anything about this. I think it's about time traveling, but I might be wrong. I don't know if this is the first book, or maybe I'm confusing it with another book by Octavia E. Butler. So I don't know, maybe I'm confused. Planet of Apes, I guess that the movie was based on this book, or this book was based on the movie, I don't know. But then I have an idea about this. I think I have watched the original movie, which is very old, I think from the 70s or 80s, I'm not sure. And the ending is like kind of wow, surprising. And then there are more movies, and I think I have watched the first one of those new movies, no more. Ancillary Justice, I think this is a trilogy, and yeah, I know it's a trilogy, but I know nothing about the story or the plot. But every time that I see this cover and the rest of the other 2 books, the covers of those 2 books, I don't feel reading these books for some reason. I don't know why. I don't understand why, but I feel that I'm not going to enjoy this book that much. Then, on Basilisk Station, I know nothing about this story also, but that cover, I mean, sorry to say, but it looks ugly. It doesn't make me feel I want to read this book actually. And I'm not sure if this is part of a series or not. I don't know. I hope that is the first book or a standalone or a first book in a series. Otherwise, I won't continue reading. I don't know. But it doesn't look nice. Then The Sun, I think it's called The Naked Sun in English. Another book of Asimov, of course. Then Earth Abides and Eon. These are the last two books in this list of 52. I don't know anything about these books. I think they are classic. I think Earth Abides is older than Eon, and I'm not sure, but I have the feeling that Eon will be a chunky book. I don't know, I'm just saying. So those are all the books that I want to read and my thoughts about them. I hope I can do this challenge in few time, but I'm not planning to push myself to the limit and try to read as many books as I can. I'm not going to do that. But this challenge, Sci-Fi 52, a reading Odyssey, will be my main challenge by now. Of course, I want to read Outlander and I want to read Foundation, which most of the books appear in this list. This is going to be my priority, my main goal for the next month and for the next year or years if it takes me long. I have many expectations and I want to really start digging into these books. So I don't know what you think, what you suggest I would read soon, because by now, you know, I want to read The Handmaid's Tale, but I don't know if there are other books that you would suggest me to read after that. So that's it. Sci-Fi 52, a reading Odyssey will start then now. I hope to see you in the next videos. Bye bye.